Thank you for joining me for lesson 99 and 100 of our daily study of Sefer HaMitzvos. The We're going to have to move through this kind of quickly today because there's a lot of mitzvahs from yesterday, which we have not yet covered. And yeah, it's just getting too late, unfortunately, on Saturday night. So after Shabbat ends, it's just too late for us to be doing a video. So I'm trying to combine them, and we'll see how that goes for a while. All right, so we're covering in lesson 99. We're covering negative mitzvah 187, then 186, 189, 190, 191, and 192. So first of all, the first two mitzvahs come from the same, well, sounds like the same verse. They are coming from Exodus 34:26 and Exodus 23:19. It says, "You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk," and that's the literal reading. And there are two mitzvahs that we're going to talk about today that are derived from these words. Since this appears multiple times, the sages said there are multiple different things that the Torah is trying to teach us by mentioning it multiple times. So the first thing that we are forbidden regarding mixtures of meat and milk is that it's forbidden to consume a mixture of meat and milk. You're not to eat it. And second, that it's forbidden to cook a mixture of meat and milk. Now, there are some caveats here. We're forbidden from cooking kosher slaughtered meat and kosher meat in general, meat of kosher animals with dairy. And so that is a distinction. So if you find yourself in a situation where you need to be cooking meat and dairy, and you're Jewish, then as long as it is not kosher meat, then you have not violated this mitzvah according to how Judaism reads this, because the Bible is not considering that you're going to be cooking or eating non-kosher meat when it says this. It's obviously in regards to you consuming it. So if you had to make this, like for instance, to sell to a Gentile, let's say you're working in a restaurant, then this is a prohibition that is not going to be problematic. There might be other issues, but the main thing is that we can't cook or eat meat and dairy that are kosher meat and dairy mixed together. And that's not actually all of the things we'll learn from that, but I'll wait until it comes up later on. All right. Bread from the new harvest. So this comes from Leviticus 23:14. It says, "And you shall not eat bread, roasted grain, or fresh grain." And we're actually going to use this same verse to give us the next three mitzvahs. So this verse is used to forbid the eating of bread made of the new season's harvest before the 16th of Nisan has passed. It is going to also forbid the eating of roasted grain of the new season's harvest before the 16th of Nisan has passed. And it is going to forbid the partaking of fresh grain kernels of the new season's harvest before the 16th of Nisan has passed. What is the 16th of Nisan? What is the significance here? The significance is that the first um, omer of grain of the grain has not been waved and presented in the temple, um, and and so until that's done, these things are forbidden. And obviously, right now we don't have that situation, but we still would need to wait past that date regardless. All right, and there is another food prohibition here before we round out lesson 99. The For 3 years, it says in Leviticus 19:23, for 3 years it shall be forbidden to you; it shall not be eaten. This is orla. It's forbidden to eat orla. This is the fruit of a tree. The first 3 years after the tree was planted. This prohibition also applies to fruit grown in exile. So we have to allow that tree to grow 3 years after it was planted, and yeah, so that is Orla. Let's move on to lesson 100. We have four mitzvahs. They are negative mitzvah 193, 153, 194, and 146. So Deuteronomy 22:9 says, lest the seed that increase become forbidden. This is forbidding the vegetables that or grains that were grown in a vineyard. It's forbidden to consume both the grapes as well as the vegetables or the grain. This biblical prohibition applies only in the land of Israel. Untithed produce. Leviticus 22:15 says, and they shall not profane the holy things of the children of Israel, that which they offer to God. It is forbidden to partake of produce before all the requisite tithes, those that belong to the Cohen, the Levite, and the poor, and the tithe that's separated and eaten in Jerusalem are separated. So, very important that is observed. Next, idolatrous libations. This is a big one. Deuteronomy 32:38. This extends more than we might realize. So uh, it says Deuteronomy 32:38 says, who eat the fat of their sacrifices and drink the wine of their libations. This is forbidden to drink wine that was used as a libation for an idol. Here's the thing. If you drink kosher wine, you're not going to have to worry about this, because kosher wine has been monitored, has been guarded, it has only ever been poured by a Jewish person who's not an idolater, and so kosher wine is a very good thing, and also if you never want to have to worry about your wine being tainted by idolatry, then you should look for on the back of your wine. It says mavushal. That means cooked. And we also learned that there are ways that you can make a wine. If somehow you end up with a wine that's non-mavushal, there are ways that you can fix that. But you might want to ask your local Orthodox rabbi. But there's nothing wrong with that wine, but it might present certain issues if you do happen to have definitely, if you have any idolaters coming over, or any even Jewish people who are um, brazenly against the keeping of Shabbos, and that doesn't. There's some caveats there, but having a mavushal wine negates all of those kinds of concerns, though it may not taste quite as good as the non mavushal, typically because those are the more expensive ones too. All right, uh, Deuteronomy 12:21. Moving on. This says, "And you shall slaughter of your cattle and of your sheep as I have commanded you." So we're commanded to ritually slaughter animals and fowl, birds, if we're wishing to eat from their flesh. Only through slaughter is the flesh rendered fit for consumption. So we don't eat the meat of an animal that was shot with an arrow or a gun. The slaughtering of these animals is through through shechting the animal, through slaughtering the animal with a toothless knife. So no serration, even the slightest serration is not permitted. That the blade should be perfectly smooth, and well, Yoshi, I would recommend you check out Reb Yoshi's video on YouTube, on our Beth Immanuel That's a Good Question group, where Yoshi talks about, should a Gentile have slaughtered meat. And he also addresses, if you're Jewish, if you should be eating kosher slaughtered meat. Spoiler: yes, you should. And I would really recommend that you go and watch that, because he gets into this, and it's fascinating. It's a two-parter, but the part that is most going to address this directly is the second video. But both are definitely worth watching, especially if you're a Gentile and you have questions about these kinds of things. All right, so thank you for joining me. We've now finished 100 lessons. If you've been watching with me through all of these, thank you so much. And we should all give ourselves a pat on the back, and we should all be blessed with strength to continue on to the end. As now we are getting close to a third of the way through. So thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great day in every way.